You know, in reality, TV land, there have been few shows as crazy and convoluted as Kody and Robyn's. And to be honest, I have to wonder, why on earth do people still watch them? Is it Kody's cowboy charm? Robyn's reign over the family? Or perhaps it's simply the drama that's had us captivated for so long? But here's the reality nobody wants to acknowledge. The well is running dry, the drama is staged, and the true story has long since passed its polygamy stage. It began as this intriguing glimpse into this strange family dynamic, but it's evolved over time into something about manipulation, favoritism, and a power struggle that has pushed the original wives and their children to the sidelines. Kody's ego, Robyn's manipulation, the unfair favoritism shown to the younger children, and the way older kids are shunned, it's a recipe for tragedy, not reality TV hits. And while Kody and Robyn command the attention, the actual lives of Meri, Janelle, Christine, and their adult children provide far more rich and real narratives. Narratives that should be center stage. So, why are we still listening to a show that has lost its fire? Why hasn't the glare turned to the women who formed the family, raised the children, struggled to hold it together? And what does that tell us about reality TV in general? About what we actually want to watch and who we're willing to abandon? Stick around, because today, we're diving deep into the messy truths behind the scenes, the family dynamics that fans barely get to see, and why it might be time for the whole clan to move on from the drama and find life after the cameras. This isn't just about Kody and Robyn, it's about who we've been watching all these years, and who really deserves the spotlight now. Never confuse manipulation with mental illness. Let's discuss, it ever have that falling, sinking sensation, like everything's spinning and nothing feels right anymore? Yeah, that. I was trying to come up with the word for it, but perhaps there isn't one that really describes how pretend it can seem when someone's just pretending. Maybe that sensation isn't even real at all. What if they're using it, not feeling it, to dominate the people around them? Let's get into how people use false vulnerability as a weapon, and why it's finally time to say something. Hey friends, welcome back. Was practically pleading with Meri to say it. You're depressed. But she couldn't say it herself. Of course not. That would mean admitting something real. And she wasn't going to do that, so she danced around it, sitting there with the furrowed brows, the sighs, and that phony, what's the word again? Act. Please. She knew the word. This wasn't about confusion. It was about strategy. Classic emotional baiting, aimed at getting Meri to dig deep and legitimize her pain, but does she so much as pause for a moment to think how Meri might feel? Or what Meri's endured for years? Not a chance. Selfishness or plain callousness aside, one thing's certain. Robyn must be the emotional focal point of everyone's world. And this time, Meri isn't giving it to her. You can see it. Meri is waking up at last to reality. The snake's been in the room the whole time, and she's no longer in denial about the rattle. Watching Meri push back against the manipulation. Pure gold. It's like watching a person breathe again when they've been underwater for too long. Those poisonous chains are shattering, and that might transform everything for her. Hope she meets someone who actually looks at her, not one who treats her like emotional collateral damage. Then there was that entire cringe-worthy scene. Robyn referring to Meri as kiddo, as if some smarmy CEO speaking with an intern, then scolding her for not having on a winter coat. And don't forget the guilt trip, how she attempted to emotionally blackmail Meri into carrying the torch for Kody's hurt. But wait up. Where was Robyn when Meri was breaking? Where was the compassion then? The height of hypocrisy? Robyn emerging from her mansion to deliver Kody's coat to Meri. From within the warmth, while keeping Meri outside. Not even an invite in. Just vibes of pretend worry swaddled in designer throws. That's Robyn in a nutshell. She does not want Meri to see the stacks of packages from QVC, Etsy, Amazon, Nordstrom, Dillard's. She keeps the whole internet in business, but can't open her door to a suffering friend. And still, her greatest aspiration? Get Meri to say it. I'm depressed. That way, Robyn can use it later to justify why she didn't reach out, while still guilt-tripping Meri to stay loyal. But Meri? She's not biting. She knows this game, and she's finally stepping off the board. Robyn's go-to act is, I'm not depressed. I'm just in this endless fog of disappointment. Selena Meyer would be proud. And those overdone sperm brows? Iconic. And not positively so. They're like a tangible manifestation of her manipulative, woe-is-me personality. But Meri didn't blink. She didn't bite. That silence? That refusal to legitimize Robyn's pity party? That was the actual victory. And if you think this is where we're stopping, think again. Because next, we're revealing how one wife's successful B&B business inadvertently teased out exactly why another's jewelry company crashed and burned. You won't want to miss this section. Robyn versus Meri. When the wrong wife thought she was the business guru, let's just say this. Robyn's initial remarks about Meri's B&B business? Yeah, they aged like milk. Back in season 13, episode 1, while Meri was away chasing her dream of purchasing the Peruvian house, Kody, Robyn, and the other wives, excluding Meri of course, sat around discussing in seriousness. And right on cue, Robyn spoke up with that passive-aggressive question, does Meri even have a business plan? Spoiler alert, that skepticism said more about Robyn than it ever did about Meri. The tone was obvious. They weren't supporting Meri. If anything, it seemed Robyn wished her ill. That's how low the bar for Meri was set. The woman hadn't even closed on the property yet, and her own family was already writing her off. Now, here's the irony part. While Robyn was throwing daggers despite many of their finances being derived from her MLM side hustles. Talk about hypocrisy. Although there was always talk about family bonding, Robyn was always in Meri's face, questioning her business acumen, belittling her attempts at further education, and more or less standing in her way every step of the way. But let's be real. Meri worked harder than any of them. She raked in big bucks from side businesses. At the same time, Robyn's blustery condemnation of Meri's failure to have a business plan was ironic, given Robyn's own checkered work history. Worse yet, Kody and Robyn were surrounded by sycophants and toadies who stroked their inflated egos, which ultimately resulted in their current isolation within the family. The wives vilified Meri as greedy and irresponsible with money. But the figures don't lie. Meri always chipped in financially. Meanwhile, Kody's own failed ventures, such as that gun venture that lost him money, never received the same tough criticism. Now, about some background on Robyn. She entered into this family with significant debt, including debts to Victoria's Secret. Before all of that, she had a modeling and dance career, and her relationship with Kody was overly sexualized. She used that dynamic to control and manipulate her bankrupt jewelry business, a long way from Meri's B&B success. And the kicker? Robyn actively fought against converting to apparel merchandise, which would have had a far higher profit margin. She persisted in overpriced, tacky jewelry that nobody really wanted. Robyn's negative attitude wasn't merely attitude, it was a deliberate attempt to destroy Meri's B&B, cutting her off from family support to maintain things precisely the way Robyn desired. Meri, wisely, separated her business and real estate from all the poisonous family drama. Her acquisition of the B&B was also an intensely personal move, offering a supportive environment for her mother during her last years. That gave Meri a sense of peace and satisfaction that far exceeded business accomplishment. Let's be realistic. Robyn's jewelry business didn't work because it was not well conceived or carried out. Meri's B&B? Testament that a well-defined plan, perseverance, and good execution really do work. Robyn's lack of planning was evident in investor sessions. She couldn't even develop a good business plan. Meri's B&B was a good, successful business. When Meri closed down the B&B temporarily for an extensive remodel, some believed the business was failing. But it wasn't. It was just improving. And now, the actual surprise. No one's discussing the truth of Kody and Robyn's marriage. It wasn't about equality. It wasn't about love. It was about manipulation and control, a sneaky deception to conceal the way they actually controlled the family. Kody finally admitted he preferred Robyn, after years of claiming he didn't. Why? Because she had an office for him. So he spent more time at her place naturally. Now, out of nowhere, he claims he fell in love with her. In short, Kody was brainwashed by Robyn. He says something, then turns around and does the opposite. His claim? They hate me because I loved Robyn more, but don't think I gave her special treatment. Every word that passes through Kody and Robyn's lips, twisted to keep their scheme afloat, because Robyn never actually valued a polygamous marriage to begin with. Want to dig deeper into family secrets, business fails, and TLC scandal? Hit that subscribe button. The truth is just getting started. Robyn never desired a genuine polygamous marriage. She only went along because it meant one thing: being the permanent favorite wife, with the others being at her feet. That's why she's so bitter the other wives left. They weren't just family. They were her financial and ego support system. This was pathological, a poisonous game of power masquerading as a sacred covenant. Their master plan? Wrap it all up as monogamous, with Robyn on top. In the meantime, Kody? He's so accustomed to lying to willing women and getting away with it that he forgot that folks are actually watching these days. He's not a hapless victim of circumstance. He's the engineer of his own destruction. And if you call him or Robyn out, apparently you're just jealous. Kody is a master manipulator and performer, constantly rewriting history to fit whatever narrative benefits him that day. The tell-all interviews? Just another act. He gets angry because viewers see through his lies and control tactics. When Kody tries to distract us with grand gestures or sudden topic changes, he thinks we'll forget his true nature or believe he's a good man. Sorry, it doesn't take years of emotional, financial, mental, and verbal abuse off a white trash man to put a suit on him. People aren't jealous of Kody. People don't like him because he exploited his first 3 wives for years. It would have been better if he just told the truth in the beginning rather than emotionally and financially manipulating them. Sure, the wives were brainwashed to some degree, but they should have gotten out sooner, even to spare the kids. Janelle's been correct all along. Kody is not a good dad. He uses accusations as a weapon to hurt people. He was never equal before or after number 4 wife. There was always a strict pecking order. Christine was essentially the basement wife, prior to the show even starting. Kody's admitted favoring Robyn in the past few seasons, but always frames it as, I favored her because she was a good wife and you weren't. Classic narcissistic playbook. Deny, downplay, deflect. Robyn is blamed by many as the puppet master. But let's get real. Kody is a big boy, fully responsible for his own decisions. He wasn't a good husband prior to Robyn either. Favorites? Always. He made all the wives feel as though they had to work for his affection. Robyn became the favorite forever because she was the youngest, skinniest, and most submissive. There was probably some manipulation involved, but Kody knew exactly what he was doing. The other wives hung on, hoping things would turn around, but Robyn made damn sure they wouldn't. Meri, Janelle, and Christine's marriages were largely out of family obligation or expectation. Robyn was the only wife Kody truly desired. When COVID came along, Kody finally had a good reason to live a monogamous lifestyle with Robyn, the wife he loved. Meri's greatest error? Getting divorced from him without tying him up with a generous settlement. He bested her handily. Bottom line, Kody is a liar. Everyone thought he was the perfect polygamous dad. But no one talks about how his ego and control issues quietly tore apart his relationships with his children. Viewers often say Kody's peak dad era was during seasons 1 through 6 or 7, back when he seemed to genuinely care and tried to connect with his kids. Several kids have even said he was amazing before things fell apart, but once fame and ego took over, Kody's treatment of his family changed. Others claim that his long submersion in polygamy led him to view his children as an extension of himself, rather than as human beings. As the children grew older and started questioning him, his responses became more and more negative and controlling. That's the unfortunate truth behind the meticulously edited, curated facade of the ideal polygamous family. Kody views his children's questions and autonomy as threats, rather than as a normal aspect of coming of age. That's the complete opposite of how most families develop and change. Robyn is responsible here as well. She gets most of Kody's attention and affection, and he's more engaged with her children than with his older kids from the original wives. Now that COVID changed the family dynamics, Kody has lost his tight grip on his kids, and he's been reported as having fought with losing control. Others argue he is more concerned with being admired by younger kids, particularly Robyn's, than creating genuine, meaningful bonds with his older children. In the early seasons, Kody portrayed himself as the cool dad who did the occasional light thing but left everyday parenting and discipline to the moms. The older children from the original 3 wives, the OG trio, tended to have to fend for themselves. Kody didn't do much everyday stuff like making breakfast or tucking them in at bedtime. That was left to moms or older siblings. Once Robyn came along, Kody focused on her family full-time, leaving the rest of the kids more abandoned. His dynamics with the older children are tense, with complaints that he's refused to own up or make sincere attempts to make up. Kody likes being admired and in charge, and is not willing to play with his kids as individuals who think and feel. The younger children, particularly Robyn's, are still in their worship phase, where they offer the approval he desires. Older children who question or claim independence have moved away from him, which gets on Kody's nerves. Most grew up with their own lives and were quite self-sufficient despite his parenting. His style of upbringing, shallow, ego-motivated, and without actual nurturing or involvement. The original wives publicly defended Kody to preserve the image of the family and to keep the show going. But the reality is more complex. The family's current split and Kody's tense relationships with his children demonstrate he doesn't get the normal autonomy of his children, compounded by his ego and need for control. Here's the ugly truth nobody's telling. Kody's days on the show are over, and yet he continues to dominate the spotlight. Why? Producers should now just sit him down and ask him some answers to the actual questions everybody wants to know. No pay unless he cooperates. Threaten to walk away? Come on. The show moved on without him long ago. Meanwhile, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and their mostly grown kids have rich, compelling stories that could easily support 2 or 3 spin-offs, even if just limited series. Honestly, who would voluntarily watch a Kody and Robyn spin-off? Their saga is dull like a wet napkin. It's time the show to change focus to the wives who created their own families and lives while Kody hung on to waning relevancy. Hey everyone. On today's show, let's discuss Kody and Robyn. Why do others continue to watch them? Is it the abs? The hair? The entire cowboy vibe? Honestly, it's difficult to say how that continues to work because the drama well is certainly running dry. Most of the online chatter still revolves around Kody and Robyn. Hate watching? Yeah, it's certainly a thing. Without their drama, there would be little left to watch on the show in the first place. But that well is running quickly dry. It's high time for the whole family to grow up and discover life outside reality television. Enough is enough. For some, it began as voyeuristic curiosity. But soon, the polygamy aspect was the least fascinating part. What really captivated were seeing ordinary people being themselves. It'd be actually entertaining to catch up on them now, even just highlights. Because honestly, any life looks fascinating when you skip the boring stuff like traffic jams or grocery shopping, right? That said, most viewers fast forward through Kody and Robyn, except for those jaw-dropping moments that you just can't skip. People sit and watch all sorts of weird things. So how anyone in this position hung in with this show from the start is mysterious, but so here we are. Spin-offs. The concern is that manufactured drama that these shows must be forced into to continue. The highlight? Likely when they moved to Vegas, just before things got dull. If the Star Show continues on, perhaps it would be better served to focus on Janelle, Maddie, and Caleb having a flower farm Christine, and David adapting to married life. And sure, Kody and Robyn delivering content largely for hate watchers' enjoyment. Also, it's time to cut Kody's editorial leash and begin negotiating directly with the adult children. The only spin-off that could potentially work would be brief, unscripted snapshots from whoever wants to record life events akin to 90-Day Fiancé Diaries, but more authentic. Would an entirely unfiltered Kody and Robyn show be appealing if it featured raw moments from the kids? Maybe. Reality shows have dealt with abusive behavior in the past, and it has been caught on tape. What a show based solely on Kody and Robyn. Perhaps not much of an interest there. Most people desire shows based on the original wives and their kin depicting their business enterprises and everyday lives. Without Kody, naturally. Do you think? Would you enjoy a spin-off based on the original wives or more honest updates? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Undefined. Take care and much love to you all.